Welcome back. So today I'm going to talk about the Incredible Hulk, Blade the Vampire Hunter, Namor the Submariner, Marvel Comics Presents featuring Shang-Chi, Tales to Astonish featuring Giant Man and the Wasp, Justice League, and Hellblazer. I'm gonna start off with Incredible Hulk issue 419 from 1994, and it features Talos, the Skrull who was actually in Captain Marvel, as you might remember. In this issue, he basically is on Earth after being at the wedding of Rick Jones. Anyway, now he needed to regain his honor as he had previously lost it by basically losing to the Kree. Anyway, as he didn't actually have the whole shape-shifting abilities as the rest of the Skrulls has as well, he's a bit of an underdog. Anyway, he basically decided to fight the Hulk in order to regain honor. Either he would get killed and die an honorable death, or he would kill the Hulk, or at least defeat the Hulk and gain honor by that. Apparently some Skrulls were overhead, actually in orbit of Earth, and basically watching the whole fight. The Hulk obviously didn't really want to fight, he didn't feel like there was any purpose to it, but well, he didn't really have a choice as the Skrull kept on attacking him. So eventually he decided to go another way. Instead of killing the Skrull, he decided to actually kind of fake surrender. So he basically starts crying, and basically Talos bought it somewhat. At least the Skrulls overhead basically bought the whole thing and brought Talos back to the surface, basically thinking that, yeah, this is more than enough, you have regained your honor, basically. So that ends that story. It's a pretty interesting story, actually. Nice to see. I mean, Talos is a great fighter, really. I mean, he actually have the Hulk on his rope sometime there. Anyway, so going to some horror stories now with Blade the Vampire Hunter, issue 1 from 1994. Previously in Blade's history, he had been part of the Night Stalkers, but as they had basically been fighting the first vampire called Varney and died in an explosion after that, he was now basically alone, having lost his two best friends. Even though it had been a rocky friendship, it was still a friendship. Anyway, there's this character called Bible John, who was in an asylum, and apparently he managed to escape this. So he basically wanted to get Blade back on track again, Blade being very much against all supernatural stuff, so he basically was given a gift by Bible John after Bible John couldn't actually convince Blade himself to become what he was before. Anyway, this gift was actually a witch compass. It was basically gonna redirect the user to any dark energies in the area. Blade would, however, naturally follow this compass, which would eventually lead him to a sort of blood warehouse. Basically, this vampire guy called Aaron Thorne, apparently a very powerful guy, had actually basically constructed this place where humans were hung up, basically drained of blood, something that we'd actually see in the Blade movies-ish. And it's kind of cool to see this now, finally. Blade naturally busts in there, fights Aaron Thorne himself, only him and not any of the others. Even though he's close to actually getting killed by this Aaron Thorne guy, Blade does actually slices his throat. This seems like he actually killed the guy, but actually turned out that Aaron Thorne is a lot stronger than that. Blade kind of manages to blow up the place and then escape. So a little bit sidetrack here now in the end of this issue. It turned out that a journalist was trying to basically get an opinion or get any truth about what happened to the Night Stalkers, investigate the place where the Night Stalkers had been in the last, and actually ran into Dracula and died, naturally. So Dracula is back yet again. Okay, so we're gonna move over now to Namor the Submariner, issue 52 from 1994. So in this issue, Namor and his peacemonger Andromeda basically headed to the Oracle headquarters, where they heard from Phoebe Mars, who is now leading the company at the moment, that apparently a wreckage of the ship that Leonard Mackenzie, Namor's father, actually had been on, has been discovered. And apparently some information about Leonard Mackenzie, also that he was in fact a spy for USA at the moment. Namor and Andromeda knew that this was close to Old Atlantis, and that Atuma and his barbarians actually had residence at that place at the moment. They feared for the divers' lives, naturally. So they decided to go there in order to basically save these guys. When they couldn't hear anything from the divers anymore, who basically heard that they had been in danger, so naturally these two Atlanteans decided to go down there to save them. So Andromeda decided to go to Old Atlantis to basically talk to her father, see if she could make things better, basically. Turned out that her father was already actually defeated. He was basically unconscious, beaten by the Sea-Leopard, a new character actually first introduced in this one. Namor at meantime basically saved the divers, and then was attacked by Black Moray. Again, first time actually seeing this character as well. Namor was then defeated by Black Moray. So more on this in the next issue. Gonna go to Marvel Comics Presents now 157 from 1994. This features Shang-Chi in the second part of the Guantlet storyline. So basically Shang-Chi managed to survive the explosion of his house, and he then met the mastermind behind everything. Guy called Midnight Slasher, apparently fought him before. Anyway, Midnight Slasher had Lei Wu as a hostage, Lei being a close friend to Shang-Chi. So naturally this was the last part of the Gauntlet. If Shang-Chi could defeat Midnight Slasher, he would basically get Lei back. So there's a pretty nice fight here. Shang-Chi actually manages to defeat Midnight Slasher, but Midnight Slasher basically disappears kind of when they happen to be close to a church. More on this in the next issue. Tales of Astonish issue 54 from 1964. This features Giant Man, this is Hank Pym naturally, and the Wasp, Janet Van Dyne. Anyway, they basically were ordered to go to Santo Rico on a somewhat holiday to investigate a possible communist plot. This order is from the government itself, so naturally they have to do this. They are Avengers after all. So they basically go there to investigate. This guy called El Toro, who is now leading the country, and well, things happen back and forth, but eventually they managed to defeat El Toro, find evidence that they actually had cheated in the election, and well, the bad guy lost basically. Okay, so we're gonna go over to DC now, starting with Justice League issue 116 from 1975. So apparently this character called Golden Eagle, who looks very much like Hawkman, but he is not Hawkman. He was actually attacked by a Hawkman villain called Matter Master. He was, however, saved by Green Arrow, and the Justice League were basically involved in this whole story thing, basically trying to stop the bad guy basically from attacking this Golden Eagle guy again. The Matter Master naturally used his powers to change the Justice League, basically making them look like animals, basically become animals, but they did manage to defeat him and get back to how they're supposed to be, basically. Okay, so the last issue today is Hellblazer issue 14 from 1988. So in this issue, Constantine is basically running from the law. So in the previous issues, he had basically depossessed someone or something like that, and apparently people died, and now he was running from the law. Basically everywhere his picture is in the newspapers and everything, and he's really, really up shit's creek, so to speak. Managed to find this collective of people basically outside of the law, outside of society, where he basically trying to live a semi-normal life. Okay, so thank you all for listening. I hope you have enjoyed. This is of course Marvel's and DC's creations. I'm only telling the story. Do subscribe if you like this, and share naturally. Well, stay safe.